Deals were flying. Star running back spot. Signing Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker away from Seattle. 3 years, $28 million guaranteed. Walker, the fourth reigning Super Bowl MVP, to change teams that following season. Then the quarterbacks started flying off the shelves. Miami, the first to make a move, signing former Packers quarterback Malik Willis. 3 years, $45 million guaranteed. Willis only has 115 dropbacks in 2 years with Green Bay, but played well when he had the opportunity. Then the next quarterback, and this one took a lot of people by surprise, Tua Tagovailoa, after being released by the Dolphins in the morning, found a new home almost immediately, signing with Atlanta, a one-year deal. Tua will compete with Michael Penix, who is rehabbing a torn ACL, so he should get plenty of time, Tua should, during the summer. And then finally, after playing his first 12 seasons in Tampa, Mike Evans said goodbye to the Bucs and signed in San Francisco. 3 years, $60 million. $16 million of that is guaranteed. Played a career low 8 games last year, dealing with a host of injuries. And so Adam Schefter, who was the busiest man you know all day yesterday and all through the night, and back up with us this morning. Schefty, I'll start with this. There's one huge name we're still waiting on. I mentioned it. The shoe to drop is Trey Hendrickson. What is the latest we're hearing on him?
Well, here's the situation, Greeny. He's been in contact with a number of teams right now. The issue, I think, is this. You see the Houston Texans go out and give Danielle Hunter a $40 million a year extension. You see yesterday the Carolina Panthers shock the NFL and give Jalen Phillips $30 million a year. Trey Hendrickson sees himself in the company of those kinds of players. And so you would think that there would be a corresponding contract in that vicinity. But if there's not a team out there that's willing to give you $40 or $30 million, sometimes it takes a player a little bit of time to understand how the market works like that and to accept that just because Danielle Hunter might get 40, you might not get 40. Just because Jalen Phillips gets 30 doesn't mean you get 30. And so right now he's talking to a bunch of teams, but nobody has met his price just yet. And he's a very strong-minded, prideful person. He wants to get his price, and until he feels like he does, he's not willing to compromise on that.
Now, he waited a long time for this opportunity to be free. He's going to take advantage of it. I don't blame him. Ton of movement on the quarterback market. We talked about Malik Willis. We talked about Tua Tagovailoa. What was your biggest takeaway from the quarterback situation yesterday?
I think all the movement in Miami with Tua going out, Malik Willis coming in, and then Tua going to Atlanta. This creates a very interesting, and I think when you look at it, obvious situation. Now the Falcons have 2 left-handed quarterbacks. They are the only quarterbacks on their roster. Penix is coming off the torn ACL. Tua goes there. Smart play by Tua Tagovailoa to go into a system like that where he's going to have the chance to start there. It's a new coaching staff. It's a new front office. They're not married to Michael Penix or anything like that. So Tua will have a legitimate chance to be the starting quarterback there, and who knows how that might revive his career. We see it over and over in the NFL. So Tua opted for that particular situation. Now we wait to see where some of these other quarterbacks go and some of the other openings that are out there with teams still looking for quarterbacks, Greeny.
Kyler Murray, Geno Smith would be the 2 that jump immediately to mind, and certainly there are some others, particularly some older players, Flacco, Rodgers, etc. What else? What else are you keeping a close eye on right now that you might be popping into my ear any minute and saying, Greeny, I've got breaking news?
Well, I think this is a situation that bears watching from yesterday. The New Orleans Saints gave a 4-year, $52 million contract to the former Jaguars running back Travis Etienne, who now will leave Trevor Lawrence for the first time since 2018. And with a high-priced running back now in New Orleans, that leads to questions about what will happen to Alvin Kamara in the future. Is there space for him? Will another team trade him? Will the Saints be willing to trade him? But we have not heard the last of this situation with Travis Etienne going to New Orleans. There was some chatter about whether or not New Orleans would be willing to move Alvin Kamara before the deadline last year. It didn't happen. I think that scenario now could come back into play with a new big-time running back in New Orleans getting that kind of contract.
All right, Schefter, get back on the phones. We'll be with you all morning long. As soon as there's any news at all, we'll go directly to Schefter. Meanwhile, let's bring the entire crew in here, and let's do day one declarations because so many big moves were made yesterday. Dan Orlovsky, what was your number one takeaway from day one?
how the second-year quarterbacks are all set up. I loved what Tennessee did for Cam Ward. One, the addition of Wan'Dale Robinson was really good for just that friendly receiver. I thought New Orleans getting Etienne and guard David Edwards was really good for Tyler Shuck. The stuff that the Giants did for Jackson Dart when it comes to signing Isaiah Likely as a free agent tight end and the way they're going to use him. I like that all three organizations didn't necessarily only go with just offensive guys. Tennessee's building a defense for Cam Ward. The Giants kept Illuminor, which I thought was a big deal, but also added that pass-catching tight end threat. And Tyler Shuck, the commitment that New Orleans is making is saying, hey, we're going to get you a good back and protect you from the interior part. I thought the second-year quarterbacks are set up to have really good second seasons.
Day one declarations. Dominique Foxworth, you were next. What is your biggest takeaway from day one yesterday?
I think the Rams just clearly became Super Bowl favorites yesterday for me. Their biggest weakness was the cornerback, and they were aggressive. They went right after the Chiefs secondary, and particularly went and got Watson to pair up with McDuffie, who McDuffie obviously an all-pro. The reason why Watson is important because I think it allows McDuffie to play some more in a slot, which I think pushes Lake back into the safety position, who is their slot corner now. McDuffie, his most valuable asset is his versatility playing inside the slot and outside. Before they got Watson, I thought they were going to stick McDuffie on the outside and take away one of his superpowers, but now they have Watson also. McDuffie can play the slot.
They are the favorites at DraftKings, and they are the favorites in Dominique Foxworth's household. Peter Schrager, you are next. Day one was fascinating. What caught your eye?
The Philadelphia Eagles. You know, March and April is usually Howie Roseman's season, SZN, and they signed nobody, but they lost quite a bit. Jalen Phillips, who everyone thought was going to re-sign with the Eagles, took a huge payday from the Panthers. He leaves. Nakobe Dean, gone. Reed Blankenship, gone. Dotson, gone. Last year, they lost Josh Sweat, and Milton Williams, and Darius Slay on that first day. The Eagles, it's been a bloodletting. Everyone's leaving, and Jeff Stoutland's no longer there as the offensive line coach, and yet everyone's looking and saying, Howie, what are you going to do? What's the move? Well, I think of the finance world, and sometimes the best moves are the ones you don't. No one's ever won a Super Bowl on day one of the free agent market. I would say just hang tight, Eagles fans. Let's see what Howie Roseman has up his sleeve.
See what he has up next. And then finally, Graziano, to you, what is your day one declaration?
I think Malik Willis and the Dolphins is absolutely a perfect marriage of team and player right now. Malik Willis is still an unknown, and whoever signed him was going to be taking some level of risk that his small sample size of performance in Green Bay could translate to success as a full-time starter. The Dolphins are a team that I don't think many people are expecting much from this year. So if he goes there and it doesn't work out, I don't think it's as catastrophic for him as if he had gone to like Indianapolis or a place like that where they'd be expecting right away. And if it does work, by the way, he's playing for a coach and a GM that know him well. They come from Green Bay. I think they might have tripped over something.
I actually think the Malik Willis deal says more about the Colts and the Falcons than it does about the Dolphins, because Malik Willis went for a lot less than I think we anticipated, which makes it seem really silly to me that some of these other teams who seem a lot closer, who seem like more attractive destinations for Malik Willis, why they didn't get in the mix. Ending up with Tua when Malik Willis has what seems like a higher upside right now surprises me.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, I think that's why it makes sense for Miami. First of all, I think the price was about right? A little more than Justin Fields got last year. That's what we had kind of been saying. But second of all, I just think if he goes to a place like Indianapolis where it's, win now or else, I think that sets him up for potential, disappointment, sets them up for potential disappointment. Whereas in Miami, I think, the range of outcomes suits him better.
Orlovsky, what did you think of all the quarterback stuff yesterday?
Yeah, I liked Miami signing Malik Willis, and I think it's the fair contract because it's really that 2-year commitment. They'll see if they've got something. Yeah. If not, they'll get into the quarterback market again. I thought Tua going to Atlanta was the right decision, both sides. One, Tua, that's the best place for you to try to rebuild your career as a starting quarterback potentially. Two, that's really all Atlanta had, Dom. There wasn't a ton of wiggle room for Atlanta. If you're Atlanta, Kyler wasn't going to go there. Geno wasn't going to go there. You had already moved off from Kirk because of the finances. You need a person that's at least in March, April, May, June, starting quarterback capable, and in September, depending on if Michael Penix is going to be healthy enough. Tua was really the likeliest option in Atlanta. I thought that made sense.
We're going to, obviously you're skeptical. We'll come back to it. Peter, Nick is jumping out of his chair. We're going to come to back to the quarterback situation, particularly that one as we go. Peter, finish it up.
Yeah, just that the Dolphins had such a comfort with Malik Willis. You have to realize no one else has seen Malik Willis as much as Jeff Hafley over the last few years. He was coaching against a scout team offense where Malik Willis ran it. John Eric Sullivan as well. And when Jeff Hafley was interviewing for the job in Miami, you better believe he had a plan at quarterback, and that plan included a guy that he'd watched for 2 years. One more note, John Robinson, who drafted Malik Willis in Tennessee, now works for the Miami front office as well. There's a lot of Malik Willis support in that building.
That's critical. When you see the guys who know him best are the guys who want him, that's the best possible indication.
Because no one's seen him play, but they've seen him practice, and they've seen him in meetings, and they know what he's like in the building. They know more about him than anybody else.
We're going to get into the Tua stuff.
Nothing. It's a quarterback.
He is shrugging off everything. I promise I'm coming to all of it. We'll get into all the Tua stuff as we continue. You know who made a huge splash on day one?